Hey everybody, now I'm at Happy Monday. So I am going to confess I did not watch a single a single video of anything that our great friend Sarasota Tim put out this weekend. And I know a lot of people have been just keeping up with his content, but I did want to give out a PSA to Tim. Now, maybe his sycophant subscribers who don't really care that they are following somebody who is very willing to dry beg money from people when he owns probably $140,000 worth of depreciating assets. And so he also is not very honest about the fact that one Social Security video, as Darling pointed out, and I've talked about the fact that Tim makes a lot more money than people suspect, and people have told me I was, talking nonsense about that, and in reality, he does make much better money than people, have given him credit for, because of some of those older videos that sadly still get views. And I mean, I don't know if people are going to watch it because of just how nonsense it is now, or they just, surprisingly, it still gets pushed up the algorithm. It's a mystery. YouTube is a mystery. So I understand that he is not reading rooms, i.e. Tim, I thought you said you liked the state of California, at least to visit, and you had lived there as a child, and you had some pretty happy memories out in San Diego. Why are you sitting around a campfire making videos? You have friends who live in California, and it seems that you have very little empathy for others who are finding themselves in any type of situation, because sitting around a campfire at the moment is not reading a room very well. And sorry about the sound of the air, that's actually around my car. Maybe because I drive such fast speeds, everybody. Probably out of all the people doing it, I'm sure I'm probably being the most illegal with my speed. Anyway, so I'm off, so I'm going to keep to my train of thought here. So yes, it would be nice if you actually, Tim, would read a room, maybe not be sitting around the fireside chat while another half of the part of the country is burning, and people who have lost their homes, probably animals have lost their lives for sure, lives destroyed, and old Tim sitting out here dry begging around a campfire. I mean, it's so inappropriate. I just don't understand how the people that watch him just in the comments, oh Tim, we're so glad that you're making another cup of coffee, and just it is, to me, in my opinion, a cult-like following, and it's almost a following to kind of, I don't know if they really find this man interesting, or it's more a rebellion, if you may, against those of us who have said, look, this guy, in our opinion, is somebody who is manipulating elderly people to send him money, in our opinions, because we've seen the Buy Me a Coffee, and we know that some of the years that are after the names of these individuals often can indicate that they are born a lot earlier in life, or earlier in the 20th century than Tim. So Tim is almost asking, he's a grown man of 66 years old, perfectly able-bodied, okay? Perfectly able-bodied except for that janky eye, and that is a medical term for me. And that was his own doing. I'm sorry, I don't do that type of medicine anymore, so, well, I do as a nurse, but I don't deal with ophthalmological issues, so I don't really worry about Tim's janky eye. Should have been receiving optical care starting at the age of 40 is what's recommended. And there's a reason for that, is because there are changes, especially if you're living in places like Florida, where you're getting sun in your eyes. You're going to potentially have more issues. That's why I've been wear these almost glaucoma looking type sunglasses is because these are my prescription, because of the fact, and I've invested a lot of money because of the fact that I do have a familial history of glaucoma. I do have already small cataracts starting, probably because I lived up in high altitudes in Mexico City for many years, and also I have a hereditary factor as well. So just, and I have blue eyes. So I have a lot of risk factors for getting these types of issues. Now, the good news is, what I understand from my optician, is that the earlier you intervene, they have some really good interventions now that are nothing like what my grandmother, because my grandmother went blind through glaucoma. And so that is obviously one of my great fears. Losing your sight is one of the things that will probably affect your aging process worse than, anything. It really can hamper your mental health. There's so many factors, because if you've been sighted your whole life, you've not had to adapt. And that's very hard. I know for my grandmother, it was very difficult. It stopped her from wanting to go out to socialize anymore because she was nervous that people would come up to speak with her that were friends that she had known for generations, and that she would not be able to recognize them just because of the sight, and maybe not recognizing their voices because there are voice changes as we age. And so I am very aware of how that impacts people. So my highlighting of this is that you do need to ensure that you are going to see your opticians and that you are doing, good eye care and eating a good nutrient-based diet in order to help, because a lot of these things are preventable. Some things, obviously, are hereditary or have different disease processes and are not as preventable. But the issues that Tim is experiencing, his eyes, were all preventable by Tim. And Tim chose to neglect his health, in my opinion. We're going to always say my opinion, allegedly, speculatively, that he did. If I was taking his health history and I asked him about his care. So his getting, upset and anger, he needs to understand that disappointment, or sometimes that feeling of, maybe it could have been handled better. I think that he needs to understand to take a little bit of ownership of that. And once you can obviously take the responsibility of it, then you might finding a solution for it becomes easier. That's what I find is always a good way of trying to manage these situations. Learn to take responsibility for things that were not done well, the hard things from the past, and then you've kind of got to learn from those lessons and move forward. The lesson learned: don't ignore your doctor's appointments. Don't ignore your optical care. And I would suggest too, I don't know how often he goes, I wouldn't neglect your dental care either. That can lead to all sorts of problems with heart disease and heart issues if you are not. And if he's moving around a lot, he may not have a dentist. He drinks a lot of coffee. So I don't know if that's leading to the teeth staining. Just in my opinion. Anyway, he, I think, should start to look at why he feels the need to continue to ask these folks for money. I love the fact that my audience sends me money, but I'm not out here claiming I own all these, losing assets. My car is on a car payment. I have just over a year to go, and at this moment I'm heading to get the oil change. That's part of my plan, the service plan I bought. But I understand they're making some changes to the service plan, so I need to go home and find that letter at my house. And I was going to try to call this morning, but instead I bought a book with me, and I'm just going to use this time to sit somewhere quiet at the dealership away from the TVs and actually spend a little time just reading this morning. I have a lot of reading to do. So yeah. All right, guys, it's been about 9 minutes. So yeah, Tim, read a room, for goodness sake. Stop camping around the fire while the one part of the country is burning, and also please stop dry begging off your audience. I mean, it's up to them if they want to send money, but if I find it sort of a little bit hypocritical. I mean, how can you sit there and, you know, try to say that you're giving content to people, and it's not. It's just a tool for this gentleman to make money and to see how much more money he can get from people that watch his content. And then, like I said, I think these people just like write all this stuff almost to be rebellious against people that are calling him out for his bad behaviors. Well, maybe they really cult-like follow him. I mean, people can be really odd sometimes. All right, guys, I want to sip of this best cup of coffee I got ever here, and I'm already running like 10 minutes late for my appointment, which is no shock to me. All right, everybody, I hope everybody's keeping warm this morning, and we'll catch you later. Bye.